we've no place to go. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Vlogmas video. I am pre-filming this. This is actually November right now, but I am deciding that I will do a Christmas December themed true crime series. This one is, oh, it makes me so angry that this has happened. I do want to put a warning on this video that this crime is towards a child, and I do talk about a crime against another child as well. So it is a sexual abuse style case. This case, if you have seen my previous true crime videos, that it is another case of the system failing our community. It is ridiculous how this predator can commit crimes and walk away from it. But this is an Australian crime. I am trying so hard. I've researched. It took me so long to research because I want to get straight to the point, but I also want to tell you as much as possible as well and not drag this video out completely. Really hard to find crimes that happened around Christmas for some reason. It just, I don't know, so I've just brought it to December. So this, like I mentioned, is an Australian crime. So if you live in Australia, you know this case, you know it was everywhere. This case took years and years for it to be solved, and this case is Daniel Morcombe. Daniel was a 13-year-old boy and was the son of Denise and Bruce Morcombe. He had a twin brother, Bradley, and an older brother, Dean. So he was practically a typical Australian kid. Played with his brothers, just the boys. He was a boy's boy and he loved to be with his brothers and his family. This case is literally mind-blowing. When I tell you what happened to lead to him being abducted, it is absolutely crazy. It was just one of those things of, I don't know how to say it, like, so many events happened before Daniel was taken that it's just weird that they happened, and if they didn't happen he would still be alive. And I hate those people who are like, what if? But if these things did not happen, he would be here. It's mind-blowing. So on December 7th 2003, Daniel wanted to go to the local shops, which was the Sunshine Plaza. He wanted to go get a haircut and go Christmas shopping. Well, I remember when I was young, I was so excited to go Christmas shopping. He did ask his two older brothers if they did want to go. Both declined, and Daniel decided to head off to the bus stop and go to catch a bus to the Sunshine Plaza. So this bus stop was literally half a kilometer from his home, and he was going to catch the 1:35 bus. These are the crazy things that happened around the abduction. So that 1:35 bus actually broke down not that far away from Daniel. That bus called a replacement bus, which came and picked up the passengers from that broken down bus and then didn't pick up anyone else. So it literally drove by Daniel as he was trying to flag it down. So then that bus called a replacement bus to come pick up the people that bus couldn't pick up, because that bus was running late, so it needed to make this destination on time. Those things literally are crazy, because if the second bus or the third bus picked him up, this wouldn't have happened. But literally from the second bus going past Daniel to that replacement bus to go pick up Daniel was 3 minutes. So the abduction literally was within that 3-minute period, which is like practically nothing. And the parents for so many years wanted to know what happened within those 3 minutes, and it would literally kill me as a parent not knowing what happened. So straight away Daniel's mum and dad knew something was wrong, as they knew he didn't get on the bus and he didn't return home. And the following day Daniel's photo was released to the media, and literally his name was out there. I do sort of remember seeing a lot of this on the news. It was one of the biggest crime stories in Australia. Like, it was everywhere, all over the papers, all over the news, magazines, everywhere. All the news media was in Queensland trying to get the word out about where is Daniel. The police did set up a van and like a dummy. They got a kid dummy. They dressed him up as what he was wearing when he disappeared and just try to trigger anyone driving by if they did see anything, and there was a van for them to go in and tell them what they knew. I do remember a few people did stop, and there was something about how there was a certain type of car that was parked near where Daniel was waiting for the bus, and there was a man behind Daniel as well. So this case took 8 years to be solved. 8 years. Can you imagine being his parents and for 8 years not knowing what happened to your son? Practically, where is he? Is he alive? Is he murdered? Not knowing that 3-minute gap, what happened in between there was no camera footage, there was practically nothing. So their son just got ripped away from them, and they had no idea about anything. And that just, it's so sad that something like that had to happen to this poor boy. And you can imagine, being a parent, it would be so hard. In January 2011, a new task force was developed, so meaning maybe that the previous task force just hit a dead end, so they needed new eyes to come in. And that always is a good thing with murder cases, bringing in new people, because multiple eyes can see different things. And that following August, Brett Peter Cohen was arrested for Daniel's murder and abduction. So let's discuss the murder. So this is practically described from Brett. So Brett admitted that he did pick up Daniel from the bus stop to have fun. I'm sorry, but like, what grown-ass man wants to have fun with a 13-year-old boy? Like, no. He drove Daniel to a building on a macadamia farm in Bushland, Barrowa, with the intention to molest Daniel. Brett said that he did invite Daniel into the house for a glass of water. Then he tried to pull Daniel's pants down, and then Daniel sort of backed up and was like, no. And then Brett suffocated him. He choked him with his arm. So let's talk about Brett. And this is practically the meaning of this man should been in jail a very long time ago, and if he was, a lot of his crimes would not have occurred. And the system, I just don't understand. Definitely towards like crimes towards children, I think need to be taken very serious. And I feel like if you're going to do it once, you're going to do it more than once. He went to jail twice for a sex crime towards a child, and they still let him out. So Brett is a sexual predator with a disgusting history of sexual abuse against children, mainly boys. By the time Brett was 18 years old, he preyed upon 30 children. 30. You heard me. 30 children. In 1989, Brett got his first conviction of a crime towards a child. Brett molested a 7-year-old boy at a playground in Queensland in the toilet. Freaking disgusting. Like, disgusting. And Brett only got 2 years for that. 2 years for molesting a 7-year-old boy. Like, I don't understand. He can go into court and they just be like, you can get 2 years and you can go back out in the community. So 4 years after that crime, Brett was in a Darwin caravan park. Brett molested a 6-year-old boy in a violent attack, which left the little boy with a punctured lung. It was literally disturbing and very violent. Brett then left the little boy to die in the trunk of the car, and somehow the little boy got out and found a petrol station, and then the police were called. So he did sexually assault this child and attack him at the same time, like physically, like beating him up. And guess how long Brett got for this crime? 7 years. That's it. 7 years. He literally left a 6-year-old boy to die in a car, and he gets 7 years. Like, I can jaywalk and I feel like I'd get more time than that. So 1998, Brett then moved to Queensland. In 1998, Brett decided to move back to the Sunshine Coast after serving his time over in Darwin. So let's discuss about how the police came upon finding Brett. So I do remember that Brett's ex-girlfriend sort of went to the police about this, because she was with him when the last crime happened, and she sort of went to the police and said, it could possibly be this guy, but Brett was already on the police's radar. I don't know how he was on their radar, but I feel like it must have been they pinged his phone or something in the area of the time that Daniel went missing, and he should be on the pedophile software. So finding Brett was a massive undercover police mission. It was literally, it just shows how dumb Brett can be. Brett caught a plane and they put an undercover policeman next to him, and he started to chat to this gentleman. He got into a really good conversation, which made them really good friends by the end of the flight, they say. And during that time, the policeman told Brett that he has an offer for him to commit small crimes for good money. And Brett was really intrigued, and obviously a lot of people, if you introduce money, they're going to do anything. And Brett has like a criminal history, so I feel like he would definitely be ropeable into this situation. So just before he was caught by the police, they did set up fake crimes and pay him for them. So he thought that it was real, they need to make it realistic, and yeah, they just set up fake crimes, gave him money, and he thought he was just doing easy crimes for good cash. So they decided that Brett needed to meet Mr. Big, which was also an undercover policeman. He needed to meet Mr. Big to prove himself to do a bigger crime and to gain the trust of Mr. Big. So Brett went to a hotel room where Mr. Big was, and that hotel room was completely set up with surveillance to record their conversation. Of course, the police need to have everything on video or recording, so when they do take it to court, it's literally him admitting to the crime. So Mr. Big told him that he needs to gain his trust, and Brett will need to tell him every crime he's ever done. And also Mr. Big said to him that he has someone telling him that Brett was the one that did the murder of Daniel, and he admitted to it, or he told him what he did and when he did it, how he did it, and then automatically he was arrested. So August 21st, Daniel's remains were found in Glasshouse Mountain. I have actually driven past this, and the footage of where his remains were would have been so lonely. They did say that he died within an hour of meeting Brett, but to dump his body in the middle of nowhere, and if they never found Brett, I really don't think they would have ever found him. But out of this story, this tragic story against a child, I do want to say that there was a great outcome. So Bruce and Denise, which is his parents, were so tremendously brave throughout this. When they did interviews, and they did a lot of interviews, rarely saw them break down. They were so bloody strong. They were committed into finding out what happened, and they never ever gave up. They literally sold their house to downsize to have money to help with looking for him. They were out physically looking for him, and I did read that Bruce literally was meeting people that had information, the people that the police wouldn't even go see. And they did set up the Daniel Morcombe Foundation. They say they set this up so no other family or child has to experience what Daniel experienced and what they are experiencing. So this foundation is to set out to educate families and school children of child safety and how to keep themselves safe. They go out to schools, they hold fun runs, they hold walks, they hold bike rides, they do multiple things to get the message out there. Their colour for their foundation is red, because I think that was Daniel's favourite colour as well. So Daniel's killer is in jail, and he has been attacked, I think, multiple times. But the most severe one was he was severely burnt. If you know, in jail, if you do a crime against a child, you do really get punished in prison. Yeah, he got life in prison, and that is exactly where he should be, and he should have been there from the first crime, I feel like, because crime against children is literally disturbing and disgusting. These poor kids cannot defend themselves. And Daniel's parents also say they don't understand how and why Daniel went in the car with a stranger when they've taught him not to do stuff like this. Brett must have been super convincing. If he was standing there, he would have seen the buses go by, and he would have just I reckon he would have just offered him a lift to the shop and then just taken him somewhere else. But at the end of this whole tragic crime, there has been an outstanding and outpouring response to it. It has educated children. They have put out DVDs and sent them out to schools and to educate these kids to keep safe. It is a scary world, and their family has taken their tragic events and they've flipped it and they've turned it into a positive, and I feel like that is just one of the most amazing things. They're not sitting around. They have said they don't want people to feel sorry for them. They're not sitting at home and dwelling. They're out there and fighting against it and putting Daniel's name to make it something bigger than what he is known for, being the boy that was abducted and murdered. That is the Daniel Morcombe case. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in our next video. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Then make sure you like and subscribe to my video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys. Mwah.